this video, I'm going to talk to you about why most authors fail and the ingredients you need if you want to be one of the few successful authors. I've been running a publishing company for 10 years and have learned a huge amount about what takes an average book and turns it into a bestseller and turns it into a successful book. Now, if you're writing a book, you want people to read it, you want people to buy it. So what are the key ingredients that's going to make that happen for you and your book? Before we get started, make sure to like the video, hit subscribe and follow along. Not getting a professional book cover. Your book cover is effectively your shop window. And if that shop window is dirty, dusty, grubby, there's maybe clearance sale stickers all over it, people aren't going to pick up that book in the first place. So in order to get people to pick that book up, that is very much the first thing you need to do if you want your book to be successful. So to fix this, invest in a professional book cover designer. They know for your particular genre what it is that's going to make someone pick that book up off the shelf, or when they're scrolling online to make them stop and then click on that icon, that thumbnail, to actually get some eyeballs on your book. The next mistake that stops authors' books becoming successful is not paying for professional editing. A lot of authors will spend years and years writing their books and then they won't go and pay for a professional editor. And I never understand it, because the amount of time that you've put into your book, if you were to equate that into hours worked, so instead the hours you spent writing your book, if you'd spent that time working, think about how much money that would equate to. So you've already made a huge investment. Why would you not just spend that little bit of extra money, get a professional pair of eyes that's really going to tidy it up? They're going to be able to help you mold that book into something that can be incredibly successful. No matter how good a writer you are, even writers like Stephen King, they have editors. And that shows that you really need to invest in your product to get a great book. What I often say is it's equivalent to paying to have a builder do an extension for you, and then right at the very end, you decide, actually, I think I'll have a go at fitting the kitchen myself or plastering, and it turns out to be a mess and it doesn't give it a nice polished finish. The other one is a mistake we see time and time again, and that's not getting professional proofreading. A book with errors, with mistakes, with grammatical garbage all over it, people will just turn off from that. So no matter how good your book is, your story is, the point you're trying to get across, if it doesn't read well, people will just put it back down. The other way is that authors often don't treat their readers like customers. So you've got your customer in, they've come through the front door because they liked your book cover, and then they need to have a good experience when they're in your store. And the equivalent of that is, of course, them reading and enjoying your book, because the more they enjoy it, the more they're going to tell their friends, their family, and that's the way books go viral and that they become successful. Regardless of how much marketing you put into something, that word of mouth is always the key ingredient that makes a book highly successful. On top of this, if they don't have a good experience reading your book, they're not going to come back. And the authors that we see who make a living from their writing, they have multiple books. They're putting out more books all the time. And if you can have a really good first book and then follow it up with subsequent books that are really good, you're going to sell a lot more. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video if you're enjoying it. Follow along for more content just like this. The next big mistake that we see is authors assume that publishers will do all of the marketing for them. And this used to be true many, many years ago, when the key forms of marketing were newspapers, it was potentially radio adverts, ads on the tube or bus stops. But now most people find books through social media, and no one else can really copy and be you on social media. So you have to get to grips with these platforms. If you don't like images or video, then go for Twitter. There are a huge amount of platforms out there, and you can create an email list. And there's a huge number of ways to do it, even if you don't want to show your face, or if you're using a pseudonym, because we know that's really popular. There are so many options to promote your book now. And promotion is always most effective when it comes from the author themselves. So make sure to do this whether you're traditionally published, with a hybrid, or you've gone for a self-publishing company like ourselves. You're going to have to do your own marketing. Number 6 is that they genre bust. Please don't genre bust. People do this all the time, and they come to us at Publishing Push and they say, I've written a genre busting book. And I say, just don't do that, because what your genre is really is it's a sales channel. It means that customers, libraries, bookshops, they know where to put your book. And also customers go in and say, I'd like to read a thriller. And they go to the thriller section, whether that's online or in a bookshop, and they look there. By all means, have other elements. So it might be a thriller, but it has romance, or it tackles political issues or whatever it is, but have the lead genre so that everyone knows how to categorize it. One of the best examples of this is a book by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek. He wrote that book really for anyone who wants to be more productive, but he did his initial marketing and he put the genre as entrepreneurship, as a business book, but ultimately anybody else could use it. I personally read that book and have recommended it to a huge amount of people who aren't business owners, but I just think they're going to get a lot from the productivity tips. And number 7, which is probably the most important and the number one thing that's going to keep you from having a successful book, is not publishing. We come across so many authors who they spend a long time writing a book and then they get cold feet right before they publish and they say, oh, I don't know if I should invest in publishing my book. I don't know, would anybody like it? You really need to remove that self-doubt. There are people out there who are going to love your book and really enjoy reading it and get value from it. You wouldn't believe the amount of authors who publish with us and they say, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so glad that I published my book, because it gives them so much fulfillment. They see everybody read it and really enjoy it, and it's an incredible feeling. There's nothing like it. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you will be one of the authors that succeeds by following these steps. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.